Show us your tips. Daggy flying solo with you to look at Warwick Farm and Sandown, a midweek racing preview on behalf of progroupracing.com.au. Thanks to Johnny, who filled in ably in the Beavers' absence last week. Found his fair share of winners along the way and hopefully lined a few pockets as well. As we kick off at Warwick Farm on what's currently rated as soft 5, it will be good tomorrow. No rain forecast overnight. It's been some good weather around Sydney town today. 3 metre rail suggests we probably don't want to be too far from the pace, but I don't think there's going to be too many demons in the track either. We're kicking off with a mile maiden and a Waller-a-thon here, 5 Waller runners. 2 key form lines come through. The first one comes through the Hawkesbury lead up, and the other one through the race here a couple of weeks ago. I've sort of split between, and I've ended up with Water Dilemma on top, who started in the market in that Hawkesbury race behind Beautiful Heart. Did have to race outside lead. That was a red-hot rails day. Now draws inside. Should push up and be pretty close to leading this race, and I think runs very well here. And I had the danger coming out of the other form line, which was Decimus, who now 4th up. Comes through quite a good form maiden there. We've seen Ship Shape come out of that and win well. Since then, obviously Golden Queen should be a more than capable Metro performer as we go on. So I think they're the 2 key chances. It was sort of a little bit around Genetic Freak. Just don't think it gets as good a run as it did last time. And, I'm not really that enamoured with J-Mac at the midweeks right now. We've got 2 really good 2-year-old, or at least 1 really good 2-year-old race, and a fillies one as well. But this boy's rendition of the 1200 metre 2-year-old maiden is a cracker. We could see a few of these head towards Queensland and perhaps a race like the JJ Atkins or the Waterhouse up there. And lots of them have trialled very well. I've ended up, it's been a formula for success so far this season, but I ended up with the Waterhouse 2-year-old here, Vanquished. Trialled beautifully but on both occasions here. Inside gate, Tim Clark. All looks good here, and did beat up some key rivals along the way in those trials. So on top for me, General Salute I've got as the danger, who has also trialled well this time in. Debuted in town behind Red Resistance and Steel City. That's obviously quite good form for this. Again, inside gate probably just sits on leaders back there, and the trial was very good coming back towards this. But it doesn't end there. Snapback did start $1.50 on a Saturday. We've got horses like Influential, who've trialled well, and a few others. But, nice each-way price here around Vanquished. The third is the fillies rendition of the race. Not as keen that there's any stars in this one. And I think, again, the Waterhouse spot runner looks obvious here. Oz Empress finished off, or held on well enough behind Dipsy Doodle, who'll go on to be a proven, again, another decent Saturday quality horse. Leads up here, 3rd up, out to 1,200 metres tick, and has all the favours. Azula's trialled well for this. Again, I haven't set out to this, but did find the other Gaybot horse. Runs a race here, and interesting watch on Cha Cha Cha, who did finish off quite well in a strong early season race or mid-season race. First up, no trials, $15. Maybe worth a saver. I think they're the 3 key chances in the third. We get out to the Stain Trip up next. 2,130 metre benchmark 72. I have got Union Gap on top, but it did come through what was one of the was a pretty ordinary race. Let's put it that way. Straight to 2,100 metres. Do I really want to jump in at the short price? Probably not, but I think it does run well here. Made by Khan, looks like the one that has been up since before Christmas, but gets a soft enough lead here with Tim Clark on, and around a $6 or $7 mark. I'm just looking off $7.50 now. Gets every possible chance here, and maybe the safer play here at an each-way price. Nash going on left reeling absolutely should help it. May well need all the help it can get, but Nash does suit, now 3rd up as well. The 5th is a benchmark 78. Interesting one. A couple of key chances here. On top for me is Essione, who just got completely shuffled out of the Provincial Championships final there. Had a horse come back in its face, spat at the back. Just forget that happened. Its 2 wins this time in have been fairly solid. Does come to Warwick Farm, gets Joe Moreira, which these days is a tick in town, and I think does run well again at an each-way price. Horse like Starman's may be in the conversation for best horse in this race. Has trolled up very well this time in. And obvious interest in Huesca, who gets Tim Clark a lead. And interesting for a not a single doubt, has never seen a dry track. Gets onto a dry track tomorrow. Held on pretty well off that break. Out in distance, all ticks as well. May well blow them away, wouldn't surprise. And, well, just for the sake of mentioning a 4th number, interest in Basawa as well, around the $16 mark. First up for Chris Lee's trials have been good, but predominantly playing around the 5 and the 7 here. The 6 is 1100 metre benchmark 64, and I think there's a couple of great betting opportunities here. Firstly, is the first of which is Bunker Hut. I had an opinion of this horse last time in, all the way through to the Champion Stakes, where it hit Sharp and Smart, and that was a non-happening event, but up till then had been running quite well. Has trialled up very sharply, trialled sensationally behind a horse called Passive Aggressive, who is Group 1 company, resuming at benchmark 64 level. May need the run, but on talent alone, I think is right in this. And I've got the main danger as Lonrioli, who is going to be a leader with Nash jumping on, and resumed quite well down at Kembla. Quite well over the 1,000. I think it's going to get much further than that. I think it's more of a 1,300 metre horse. But straight to 1,100 metres, straight to town. $10 looks good to me as well. I think I'm very keen to play both, and I think we get a result out of at least one of them. The 7th is girls benchmark 72. Don't particularly like this race. I'm going to spec the first starter for the Chris Lees yard here, the N1 Commandment, who has trialled pretty well on 2 occasions here. Dylan Gibbons, inside gate, should sit close enough, and if it has any ability, around $16 will be a good price here. On top from me, Demiana did pull up with a post-race issue last time. I think it was slow to recover. Had some other issues there after being slightly disappointing starting favourite here last time out. Gets J-Mac on, obvious danger. And Wild Botanica, I think, is going better than the 8th and 9th suggest. Another one about $16. They're the 3 main ones I'll play here. A couple others I looked at and I thought have been a little bit disappointing. Ponca's trials weren't great. So we'll stick around those 3, hopefully get something out of them. And we'll wrap up the day. All things being equal, this track playing equal with Kokoro, who hits a nice race here now. Benchmark 78 mile. Chased Journalism last time, who had all favours, and was a big gap back to 3rd. Nice flowing gate here for Brent Avdella. Should run in and should give this race a great crack. From Silent Agenda, who's absolutely flying. Had the track and distance set up last time out, and is $9. And Sprout Wings, who was very kind to us first up, won at a good price, is a good price again if it gets a start. Usually Kathy jumps on this, but I'm not sure whether she might at around the 54 kilos, but well worth thinking about for the exotics. Well, there's a whirlwind look through Warwick Farm. I'm keen to play a couple of brackets in those later races. Really struggled to stamp something an absolute best, so I'm going to say race 6, numbers 5 and 7, Bunker Hut and Lonrioli, can give us a nice sight, backing them both at the each way in that race. And my value, race 7, number 1 Commandment, hopefully can kick off in style, first time in Australia. As we head back to the Hillside track down south for progretracing.com.au, down in Melbourne. No rain around today, so it's an improving soft track again. I dare say we get to good as well. The rail is out 13, where it's been a few times in the last couple of months. Probably won't be running line, perhaps not too far from the pace, but definitely running line, and perhaps similar to Kenzo, getting a bit wider as we get through the day. We'll keep an eye on that, of course. As we say, Sandown tends to be one of the easier tracks to get a handle on bias early on. We kick off with a 1,300 metre benchmark 64, where there's two chances here, and I'm probably stick with one, but Blood Oath I've been with for a while and has showed a bit of pace last time, despite being disappointing out to 14, back to 13 suits. Key chance though is Ebony King. Sat outside lead last time here. Ran well enough. Just got steamrolled by quite a good, well, what I think is quite a good horse in Altivo. Rolls forward here, gate 9. Probably ends up in a similar spot. May well be able to take control of this. Not a heap of pace inside it. And should be winning, actually, Ebony King from Blood Oath, who I've already touched on. The second 1,300 metre benchmark, 72. One of the better bets on the card. I'm going to stick with Circle of Magic. Blake Shin sticks with this horse. Again at 1,300 metres. Again at benchmark 70 level. Rolled to the front and ran, well, controlled the race and ran away and won quite well. That second horse has come out and done well since Good and Proper. It looks a good bet to me. I think the only danger in this race, as the market suggests, is TikTok Lady off the freshen up and a nice trial. Perhaps can run it down, but I'll be playing just Circle of Magic in this race. The third, we get a couple of the apprentice races coming up here, which don't always fill me with a heap of confidence. So, especially this one, which is a 1,300 metre maiden. I went looking for the best rider, and I've come up with Marble Gold, who is ridden by Carlin Heffel. She's flying week in, week out these days. You're getting $6.50 horse off a slogging trial win, but a trial win nonetheless. Resuming here, first up, second prep at an each way price. I'll be with it. From Extreme Ally, who will roll along up there and run well enough under Holly Watson coming over from Perth. But, I think a lot of the times we get success just finding the best rider. I think at least, if nothing else, Carlene's in form, and I'm happy to stick with her. The apprentices are up again in the fourth. 1,500 metre benchmark 64. Where I am going to just have an each-way play here at the other star from up north this time, Angela Jones. She's on Let Fly. It's an each-way price. It's going quite well this time, a couple of wins out wide. Then came to Cranbourne and ran well enough there on the pace. Gets a nice setup here, and around the $8 mark, I'm going to stick with it. From Rock and Zane, who is another one we're thinking about again with Holly Watson on. The barrier boys don't have to do much moving of these today because we're at 1,500 metres again this time for the 3-year-old fillies. And this is a very interesting little race. I'm going to put Great Taste on top here. Blake Shin jumps aboard for the Price Kent team. It we rolled up an okay maiden field last time out from last, wrapped them up down the outside and ran away quite impressively. And to break through. The start before that ran quite well in a maiden behind as time goes by, and She's a Tempest. Both of those have gone and since got black type, so that sets up quite well for this. It's on top for me. I'm going to make the danger here subliminal. Gets a nice cosy time up on lead. Broke through last time. Both runs this time in have been good, and around the $14 mark is worth a thought. But there's other chances here. Ramazina, another one for the Price team that is off a big win. Next best. 1,300, back to 1,300 metres for a benchmark 64. And there's two key hopes in this next one, race 6. I'm going to say Who Dares jumps over, takes up a spot and gets pretty close to controlling this lead. Cut out of the ground, any cut out of the ground on the soft track does suit and runs well here. From Desire, Main Danger, who resumed quite nicely behind Holly Lolly, who's since gone on and won on a Saturday. So 2 for me in this race. Again, I'll cover both in a day. Seems to be a day for it, but that's the way I'll play. And hopeful we get a result again. Up next is a 2,400 metre benchmark 64, and not a race I'm that keen on. Look, Boise came down from Sydney and ran quite well setting up here. First time to 2,400 metres on this track, this prep. Is now a leader, dropping grade. Takes a bit of a weight off for Celine Gowdry. And on top for me for the sake of a tip. Do I really want to charge in? No. But around a $5 mark seems fair enough to me. You've always got to be wary of these lightly raced Pat Payne things. And, with Mickey D on, it's going to get every possible chance. Next best, Red Columbine, who finally got a bit of luck last time and did win by 6, so has to be a danger in a race like this. But just sticking with the on-pace, they're Boise predominantly. And to wrap up the day, we've got an 1,800 metre benchmark 64, and we see a promising horse step out in the form of Globe. 2 soft and impressive wins at Pakenham. Does have to come away from there and take this next step. A couple of talented horses in here, but I think it can. Should get a cosy run and run very well here, if not win impressively again. From Simeon, back from Saturday grade where it wasn't disgraced, and Captain Pluto, third up, 1,800 metres, both tick for it. Well worth a thought and an each-way ticket. If you're having a quad in a day, I'd also throw Cadmus in the last. But a good day's racing, actually. Quite an exciting day's racing to get your head around. I think there's plenty of value, as you've noticed, to be had. But I'm going to make my best on a tricky day again to stamp them. Race 1, number 4, Ebony King. Race 8, number 2, Globe. And from there, I do think that race 2, number 1, Circle of Magic, they're the 3 key bets for me on the card. My value, race 4, number 9, Let Fly. This has been the Dagster sitting with you for Show Us Your Tips. We'll be back Friday with Beaver coming back fresh and tanned and ready to go to look at some weekend racing. I'm off now to record Footy and Frothies with Barney to celebrate the Tigers' big 2 points this week. Check them out. Check that out on Spotify and YouTube if you're out and about and look for a bit of footy chat. Otherwise, we'll be back here with all the tips Friday morning. Take care, guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.